Hey, hey, hey. Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good people. This is Dr. Mac. Hey, listen, I want to have a conversation with you all. I believe that it's a very good conversation, and it's a conversation that I've actually been sitting on for several weeks, if I may add, um, for several reasons. One, I was quite busy trying to get some other projects finished, but I was observant at the same time. I'm a person, if you're like me, I like to sit around and watch. I like to people watch. And when I'm in crowds, I like to people watch. When I'm in a store, I people watch. And also, I connect when I'm available to connect, if you know what I mean. Um, but one thing I have noticed, particularly what's going on in this here world today, there's a lot of missed opportunities that we encounter. And from a personal perspective, reflecting over my life as I had written, as I was preparing this message for you today, there were opportunities that I missed myself. And so I can speak from a place of truth as opposed to a place of fluff. And so I want to just have a little chit chat with you all today to first bring light and to shed light on a few things when we talk about missed opportunities, and then also encourage you because I think a lot of times when we miss opportunities, a lot of people, what they do, instead of going back to the drawing board or perhaps taking a moment to reflect over why they missed the opportunity, they beat themselves up, right? The condemnation, it becomes fierce, if you will. And so I want to talk about briefly missed opportunities today in hopes that it will bless you. It hopes that it will encourage you. In fact, it would even give you some nuggets to be able to go back to the drawing board or to pick up where you left off, so that you can um, make yourself aware that when opportunities come knocking, of course, the good opportunities, the ones that are meant for you, that you don't miss them, right? And so when we think about missed opportunities, what does that look like? And so, what is an opportunity? Opportunity could be an opportunity where an invitation was extended to you to sit at somebody's table, to go and to speak. It could be an opportunity for you to connect with someone, to collaborate with someone, to network with someone. It doesn't matter what it is. When it's an invitation that is extended to you for a good cause, that can help you or that will help catapult you, or will help grow you, mature you, whatever that scenario may be. When we are in our head, I like to use the word when we're analytical, right? When we become analytical, or when we're operating in a place of fear, definitely insecurities, low self esteem, or we lack confidence for whatever the invitation that we were granted, we will cause ourselves to shut down. We will shut down. We will make the wrong decisions, right? Or we won't make a decision at all, which in actuality, when you don't make a decision, that is a decision within and of itself. And so when we think about that, when we say about missed opportunities can be, they can come from unspoken desires, they can come from spoken desires, they can also come from a heart's desire. No matter what it is, it's an opportunity. Whether you have spoken it, you saw it, you heard it, you felt it, whatever that scenario is. And what happens is when we're not in a good headspace, when we're not in a good mature space, we will miss opportunities. And oftentimes, and I'm not trying to preach a word here, but it's in me, so it's going to come out. That's for you believers and you non-believers. And what happens is, particularly when God puts an opportunity before us and we are not in a good headspace, we're not in a good mental space, right? We will miss the opportunities. And oftentimes that result of us missing the opportunities, we start beating up on ourselves, right? And so these are things that we want to take mental notes of so that we are aware of our own actions and the reaction that causes us to miss an opportunity, right? And so when we think about opportunities, how do they come? They come in various vehicles, I'll put it that way. They will come by way of invitation. That's an extended invitation. It could be a text message. It could be a DM. It could be by way of email. It could be by way of telephone, and yes, it could be by way of what we call the snail mail, right? We've gone on the days of the snail mail, right? For the majority of opportunities, it could be an opportunity, as I mentioned before, to connect with someone for growth, the opportunity to grow, an opportunity to be awakened, an opportunity to bring about a change within yourself, an opportunity to be in a room, at a seat, at a table, right? An opening, a moment, whatever it is, it's considered an opportunity. And so, what we have to do is we have to first broaden our perspective, or actually, some need to change their perspective when it comes to understanding and identifying what an opportunity is, right? And so, what happens is when we think about missed opportunities, we can simply miss an opportunity, as I mentioned before, because of the way that we think, because we are emotionally disharmonized. I like to use that way because when we use the word balance, a balance, we we think about a scale, and a scale will weigh things, right? But if you're thinking about when you're supposed to have balanced emotions versus unbalanced emotions, depending on what scale you use, and that scale could be still off kilter. And so I like to use the word harmonize, because there's harmony and then there's disharmony, right? And so we know when harmony is very attractive, disharmony is not attractive at all. So when we think about that, we want to also be mindful of our posture, right? How do we present ourselves when it comes to that opportunity? Are we haughty? Are we arrogant? Are we prideful? Are we egotistical? Are we a person you can't tell nobody nothing? Or are you one that is very you are a person who entitled? You feel like you are entitled to that opportunity, or you are entitled to that invitation, whatever the scenario may be. These are just some bullet points when it comes to identifying missed opportunities, right? And the thing is, when we talk about posture specifically, we want to ask ourselves the question, where is our posture when it comes to the opportunity that is being presented to us? Are we in the right posture? And I'm not always talking about your physical posture, if you will. I'm also talking about your mental posture, your emotional posture, where your head at. If I just may be quite frank, where is your head? Where's your mind at? What's your attitude like? Your character, things like that. People don't understand when you have extreme character flaws, you can miss an opportunity because your attitude stinks. I'm just going to be blunt, because I am Dr. Mac, the truth and transparency coach. So I'm going to tell you like it TI is, right? And so oftentimes we have this misconception about being entitled to sit at a table, to be entitled to have an invitation sent to you because your BFF, if you will, has been extended an invitation, and so you feel entitled and make you feel like you are supposed to be one that has to go with them. And so that's not necessarily true. And so a lot of times what happens is people who extend invitations may see you, and they may see your BFF or whomever you want to call them at the same time, but they're looking at your character, they're looking at your posture, they're looking at your mindset, they're looking at are you a person that is entitled because you feel like because this person got an invitation that you yourself supposed to have an invitation to. That's not how the world works. Okay. And so we want to be mindful of paying attention to our posture when an invitation is extended, how you respond to it. Yes. Then there is the misalignment. That can go from a worldly perspective also to a kingdom perspective. For those of you who are watching, who have a kingdom mind perspective, we want to be very careful when it comes to opportunities that are being presented to us. Where's our mind at? Because we can forfeit the opportunities in the future, right? When it comes to that, are you invitation ready? I posted something yesterday on my Facebook social media page. I think a lot of people missed it. It's okay. They were more fixated on the picture that I posted instead of focusing on the message that I posted. I posted the picture because the picture identified and it also described my readiness, right? And so I said something along the lines talking about being in the position and being ready in this season, having on the right shoes. I had on a pair of Chucks in the picture with a business suit on, and I believe a lot of people missed the message in and of itself because they were focused on the picture, and they gave accolades on the picture, and I'm not taking that from you. I appreciate your accolades. I'm very, very thankful, but I was very intentional and putting in there was a missed opportunity. There we go. And because what I was basically focusing on in my message is being ready, right? And so invitations will come, invitations will go, but are you ready in the in between time? Are you ready so that when that invitation does come to you, you're ready to go? Are you ready? It says, be ye ready at all times. Are you ready to say yes to the invitation? Now, I get it. Sometimes invitations will require you to say no or even say wait. However, at the same time, are you in the posture or in the position where you're ready to move forward? If not, then what happens is you will miss yet another opportunity, right? And like I said, I'm going to give a scripture to back it up. It says, therefore, be ye also ready, for in such an hour as ye think, not the Son of Man cometh. Your opportunity comes when you don't expect it. Right? That's according to Matthew 24:44. Like I said, I'm not making this about a sermon, but it's in me and it's going to come out because I have to validate what I'm saying. Whether you're in the kingdom or not, I'm going to validate what I'm saying. And so if the Bible tells us that we have to be ready for the opportunity when it comes, that means that we have to be ready. What does that look like? I'm glad you asked. We have to be ready mentally, emotionally. We have to be ready physically, right? Which is why part of the post that I mentioned about the shoes, because sometimes it's okay to dress all cute. Listen, I dress cute. I'm not dressing cute to impress you. I dress cute because that's my style. However, at the same time, I know the seasons. When the seasons shift, I need to be prepared. And what does that look like? Some folks can't stand in heels all day long. I can, depending on the shoe. But at the same time, you got to know what type of assignment is before you. What's the opportunity or the invitation that is being set before you? Do you need to wear heels? Do you need to wear boots? Is it a combat boots invitation where you got boots on the ground? You going into a boot camp situation? Is it a business type of thing where you have on heels or wedges, if you want to call it? Is it one of those things where the season, and yes, you can dress for the success, but when it comes to your feet, because it's charged forward, you're gonna put the type of shoes on where you can stand all day, right? When you need to shift, you know how to shift. Sometimes you can't shift the way you need to shift when you got them heels on. And so that I just wanted to make that point of it. Hey, you guys coming on in, say hi. Don't just come and peekaboo. Say hi, But when we talk about having missing opportunities, these are the things that we have to look like, right? Why do many of us miss opportunities? Hey, here we go. Why do many of us miss opportunities? And like I said at the very beginning, I'm a person who missed opportunities, and so I can speak to this. And if I may be quite honest, missing opportunities don't feel good, because then you go into this place, the elder people say, oh, now you're singing the shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? We all guilty of that. I am. We're guilty of that. We're very guilty of that. We'll sing the shoulda, coulda, woulda because we missed an opportunity. But then the challenge becomes, why did we miss an opportunity, right? And I'll get into that right now. And so when we think about why do many of us miss opportunities, one is a lack of discernment. I hope you take a note. One of them is the reason why we miss opportunities. It's a lack of discernment. You can't see the opportunity coming, or you in your head, or you have a false perspective of what the opportunity is supposed to look like. You're not open-minded, I should say that way. A lack of discernment. Another one would be a lack of faith. When you lack faith, That comes from when we talk about the lack of faith, the lack of hope. I like to converge the two, because hope deferred makes the heart sick, and the hope deferred is because you don't have faith coupled with that. But anyway, that's a whole nother teaching, right? Excuse me. So we got the lack of faith. We have a distraction. Many of us have been, and some of us are distracted right now, especially with all the stuff that's going on in the world. We are easily distracted by social media. We are easily distracted by what they say on the media or in the media, right? Instead of using discernment, right? You see how they go hand in hand? And so what happens is we are quick to miss opportunities because we are distracted. Some folks are distracted by their device called phones, because or you're distracted by the social media. Instead of you paying attention to the right now and what is to come or what you need to do, we become very distracted and we miss the opportunity. What happens is when we're distracted, just think about this. If you got your phone and you constantly doing like this, and you got folks walking around you that want to present an opportunity, you can't see them because you focused on this thing right here. And this thing right here is not giving you an open opportunity, especially if somebody want to come to your person in your face and present an opportunity for you. So it's no longer heads down in that regard. It's a head up so that we can see where we're going. Another thing that causes us to miss opportunities is having an old mindset. We refer to that as the impoverished mentality. And so let me just speak on that for a moment, because a lot of times people, when we hear the word impoverished mentality, we automatically think of money. No, that is not true. It's not true. It's associated with, and it is a part of a impoverished mentality, but that's not the one all be all. It is not. It's not a one and done. And so when we think about an old mindset and a impoverished mentality, you want to think an old way, or you come from an environment that was a impoverished environment where your parents struggled, or you struggled, you barely didn't get anything, right? Or you grew up in an environment that was very a low income. I'll just use that as an example. Or you are a person who always had handouts. I can speak to that. I didn't say always had handouts, but I had things handed to me, right? And so we have to get to a place where the place and where you grew up in, you don't have to become a product of it. You don't have to become a product of it. What happens is, as you know, the phrase they say, you can take a person out of the ghetto, but you cannot take the ghetto out of them. I disagree. You can't take it out of them. They have to remove it from themselves, right? That means that be ye separated, come up out of that and be separated. That's not just physically, it's in your mind and how you think, right? And so what happens is we will come into a new environment that is excellent, that is worthwhile, that works in our favor, whatever the scenario may be. And what happens is we will still have an old mindset from back in the day. And what happens is the old mindset, that old wineskin is going to cause you to miss the opportunity to receive some new wine, because you still thinking about yesterday, you still thinking about when Pookie and them did this, that, and the third to you, but you're not in that environment anymore. You're not even connected to those type of people anymore. You're in a whole new era, a whole new region. You have people who love you, people who care about you, people who cheer you on, people who push you forward. You're not back there anymore. But what happens is you get in a new environment, you bring your old mindset, and then you missed opportunities. And then you get mad because you see the person that's right there with you, you see them superseding you, and then you're like, okay, well, wait a minute, what makes them different from me? Could it very well be the way that they think? They put away the old thinking. And so we have to be mindful to no longer operate in an old mindset. Another thing that will cause us to miss opportunities is trust issues, right? You had a bad encounter in your past and you haven't confronted it to deal with it. And so what has happened is you're moving forward, but you're allowing the trust issues from your past to dictate your present and your future. And so what happens is you miss opportunities to connect with people. You miss opportunities for opportunities in itself. You miss opportunities to network. You miss opportunities for promotion, whatever that may look like. You miss all of these opportunities because you won't change your mindset, right? You still stuck in the past, but yet you're moving forward. You're still stuck at age 13, but now you 26, 30, 40, and 45. Make it make sense. It doesn't make sense. And so what happens is we miss opportunities because we won't do this. We won't change our mind. I always think that you change your mind, you change your life. And that's a true statement. When you change your mindset, you change your life. And that could be a good way or a bad way. So we want to think about that. When we're disobedient, that means you won't follow instructions. When you have somebody who wants to cheer you on or coach you or mentor you, somebody who may be leading you right into a path where you're supposed to be, and because they give you instructions, but you feel the need to, I like to use the word a la carte. When you a la carte the instructions and you don't follow through, then what happens is you miss the opportunity that awaits you. When you're slowful, I've been guilty of that. I'm not ashamed to speak it. Like I said, I'm truth and transparency coach. When you are slowful, you say, well, what does that mean? When you drag your feet, when you should have published that book 3-4 years ago, and you keep going back to it, keep making edits and edits and edits and edit. How about just publish the doggone book and make a volume 2 or a second edition, whatever that scenario may be. I just use that as an example. Right? When we drag our feet. And why do many people drag their feet when it comes to slowful, or I'll use the phrase procrastination? A lot of times when people procrastinate or drag their feet, it's simply because there's a fear that is connected to it, or there's a low self-esteem that is connected to it, or there is an insecurity that is connected to it, meaning you don't believe that you can do a thing. You don't believe that you can accomplish the thing. And so therefore, what you do is you sabotage the opportunity that is presented before you, right? Another one, which that could be a give and take, it can be measured one way or the other, which is personal weakness. I mentioned some of the personal weakness, but then you have other things that when life happens, it could cause us to miss opportunities, right? No matter what the circumstance is. And I just just gave you a little nugget when it comes to some of why we miss opportunities. That's just a small list, right? The other one is being impatient because we want it, we want it right now, right? But we don't realize it's depending on what the opportunity is, it may require us to do some work. It may require us to go through a process. It may require us to be trained, right? Whatever the scenario may be, there's a preparation in that process of that opportunity. And when we become impatient, we miss the opportunity. Kind of goes back to the person who feels entitled, because they'll end up in that way, right? One of the other things I mentioned, or what I want to mention is, when we think about, I'm going to go down the biblical road just for a minute, because when we think about things in the Bible, even though I know some folks ain't biblical who watch this page, it's okay. I'm going to speak it anyway. So when we think about another thing that will cause us to miss an opportunity is being jealous. I know y'all don't like it. Y'all don't want to hear it, but guess what? Hear it, and here we go anyway. When we talk about being jealous, right? Jealousy will cause us to miss out. You think about the story in the book of Genesis, right? Genesis chapter 4 about Cain and Abel. Cain missed out on the opportunities because of his jealousy. Right. There were some other things that was connected to why, him being jealous. He made some poor decisions. Right. He made some poor decisions in his jealousy. But the point that I'm getting to is he missed opportunities. He did. He missed the opportunities. The other thing here, when we talk about jealousy, right? You got frustration. When you become overly frustrated, you can miss out. What? Let's think about it. Let's go to book of Numbers, right? Chapter 30. When we think about Moses, his story, he was so frustrated with the disobedient and the rebellious and the stiff-necked people because they didn't want to follow instructions, right? And so that which he should have spoke to audibly, he didn't. And instead, he allowed his frustration to cause anger to come upon him. And he acted in his anger by way of he hit a rock, right? And so when you think about it, I'm not trying to make this all biblical, but there's biblical examples as to we have to be very mindful and we have to be careful, because depending on our mindset, depending on our emotions, depending on our heart, where we are, we will miss an opportunity. right? We will miss that promise that is set before us. We'll miss that opportunity. We can miss that job. We will miss that connection, that networking connection. We can miss a whole lot of things when we are not in the right mindset, or because we allow frustration of another person, because of another person, it will cause us to make the wrong decisions. And when we make the wrong decision, we are the ones who have to suffer the consequences, not the person that made you frustrated, only you. So what does that mean? We got to control our temper. Hello, somebody. The third one is impulse and a lack of discernment. We talked about the lack of discernment, but when we talk about now, I'm talking about impulse, because a lot of times we will make decisions out of impulse, right? When we think about that, we think about you being in the presence of salespeople, right? They want their money, right? They want their money. You go to the car dealer, they're gonna tell you only so much unless you get the right one, right? But they're gonna tell you what they think you want them to hear. Why? Because at the end of the day, it's a dollar sign for them. And so if you are a person, you not waiting and being patient and using discernment, then you're going to respond in a place of impulse and miss an opportunity. Esau and Jacob, right? When we talk about in Genesis chapter 25, giving up the birthright, right? Forfeiting leadership, his inheritance and other blessings. Why? Because responding from a place of impulse. So we have to be careful when we respond in a place of impulse, we miss an opportunity. Now, let me put a disclaimer here for you churchy people, right? When an opportunity presents to you, you get all religious and say, oh, let me pray about it. Listen, if you're really in God, if you're really in Christ, some things you don't have to pray for, because if Holy Spirit is in you, he gonna tell you yay or he gonna tell you nay right then and there. A lot of times we use that excuse from a religious perspective. It's a ritual because we've heard other people say, oh, well, let me sit and pray about it. And I'm not saying that there's certain things that you don't need to pray for. You do need to, but you need to proceed with caution, right? And so, like I said, you need to have discernment, because if you're a person that truly has discernment, like I said, the Holy Spirit dwelleth on the inside of you, you will know then. Anyway, let me keep moving. The next one is wasted strength and energy. Wasted strength and wasted energy will cause you to miss an opportunity. You'll be tired, right? You'll be tired all the time. And so you miss an opportunity. You don't take care of yourself. You don't get the necessary rest because you are a yes person, or you are a go for person. You always I gotta go for this. I gotta go for that. You are always a person that says yes when sometimes you should say no. There's power in that word of saying no. Right. And so when we think about it, who was that? Samson missed the opportunity of kingdom collaboration and covenant because he allowed his weakness of attraction to a woman. I said it. You said, what do you mean, Dr. Mack? Let me just put it to you this way. Sometimes when you got your eyes fixated on something that appears to be beautiful, or for you gentlemen who are watching, that appear, for the women who are watching, you see that handsome man, or you men, you see that beautiful woman, and you become fixated on it, and you don't use the discernment, then what happens is it causes you to miss the right opportunity. And what happens is you end up with the wrong opportunity. you end up with the wrong opportunity. I was having a conversation with someone earlier today via text and certain things, and I asked a question to this individual because of the attraction that they had. I said, you need to ask yourself the question, why are you attracted to so and so? Right? And so what happens is you say, well, what am I getting at? I'm switching reels, but it's still relevant. When we come to getting ourselves in relationships, we have to ask ourselves the question, is that really the right person for us? Or are we missing the opportunity yet again because we got fixated over here, but that's not the right person for us. Instead, we got the person that is for us that's over here, and they're on the sideline waiting us, keep making these bad mistakes, keep bumping our head, keep slapping up against the wall, and so on and so forth, because we are fixated, meaning we don't have right discernment, or we make decisions to connect with a person from a place of insult. Why? Because they're whispering all of the right things in our ear just to draw us in, but they're not the right things. I hope that makes sense. And so we have to be mindful of that, right? When we think about another reason why we miss opportunities is because of fear or prejudice. You say, what? Yeah, I talked about fear a little bit, but prejudice, right? Being a preconceived notion in your mind, a preconceived opinion, or let me just say a judgment or critical opinion of a person, place, or thing. It will cause us to miss an opportunity. And that could also include, when I say prejudice, and you can disagree, but we can agree to disagree, when you have somebody in your ear because they had an encounter, a bad encounter, or what they deem to call a bad encounter with an individual, right? And so what they do is they put your name, you the good person, I'm using this example, you had somebody you were connected to and they had a bad experience with you, or they seem to think it was a bad experience, but actually it wasn't, but nonetheless. And so what they do is they go and they try to ruin your reputation or the person's reputation. And what happens is, when there's an opportunity to present itself for you, the person who's you're the person they trying to ruin your reputation or sabotage your character, so to speak, and then you're supposed to make connections with other people. And what happens is, because those other people are not mature enough to make their own decision or to weigh out the person that they're supposed to connect to, they go by based off of what they hear this other person saying. That's a preconceived opinion. That's a prejudice opinion. And what happens is we fall for the okie doke and we miss opportunities because so-and-so said, well, you don't need to connect with that person. Or let's flip the script. Or you may have somebody who has something that is for you to help mature you, to help grow you, to encourage you, to come alongside of you, to help push you in business, ministry, whatever your entrepreneurship, whatever the situation is. And what happens is, because they say this is very known specifically in ministry. Oh, well, I don't know that person, so I'm not going. And so you miss an opportunity. This is what we do as people, because we're very opinionated. And I know some of you say, well, what you're saying is your opinion. Yeah, it is, but it's also my research. And I do my research when it comes to me doing specific topics. It may be my opinion, but it's opinion instead of fact, right? Because this is what people do behavior wise. This is what we do, right? And so what we do is we have this prejudice and or fear. The fear part is, well, I don't know that person. I don't know this, that, and the third, whatever it is. And so what we do is we remove ourselves, right? We remove ourselves from the situation. And so what happens is our missed opportunities are a result of it could be also a result of greed. That's a whole nother scenario, if you will. Idolatry, prejudices, skepticism, biases, doubt, poor stewardship, timid or being shy. You're a passive aggressive person. And so because you're passive aggressive, you become passive when you need to be aggressive in obtaining and leveraging the opportunity. Or you can flip the script. You can become too aggressive and miss the opportunity because you didn't know how to dummy down. Now I'm gonna say dummy down. You didn't know how to bring your aggression down to where a place of humility. Another reason that will cause us to miss opportunities, we can become volatile. What does that mean? Frustrated, emotional, right? People don't like emotional, disharmonized people around when it comes to opportunities that can grow you, opportunities that will give you platforms, opportunities that will open doors for you and them and whomever else, right? And so you have to have the sound mind. When we are overly cautious, that's the same thing as having doubt. Poor stewardship. Like I said that the poor stewardship of your time, poor stewardship over the resources that are given to you, poor stewardship over the connections, or should I say, the instructions that are given to you. Are you following the instructions through and through that will lead you to another opportunity, or you a la carte and picking and choosing what feels good for you to execute? If you are a person who is arrogant and prideful, it can cause you to miss an opportunity. Yes, it will. If you are a person who's mischievous, that means you can't be trusted. That means you are deceptive, right? You will miss opportunities because why? People can't trust you. If you are a person who is eager to please, you the yes person all the time. You're the person, you just want to please that person. I just want to be here. I just want to please you, right? And so that can cause you to miss. Or they use that in the back in the day in the sports arena. You're a go for person. You go for this and you go for that, right? That can cause you to miss opportunities. Highly critical can cause you to miss opportunities because you'll be considered the negative Nancy or the negative Nathan. And so people don't want those kind of people around them. And so what they do is they will no longer extend an invitation to you. Another one is it drops in my spirit, and this is not in my notes because I've witnessed this on several occasions. If you are a person who cannot be trusted, meaning if you are invited to a table where there's confidential information that is being shared or a confidential conversation being shown, and you are a gossiper, you are a person who's always stick your nose in somebody else's business, right? You are a person who will miss opportunities because you don't know how to shut your mouth, or you don't know how to close your ears when nobody's talking to you, right? When you've been invited into a space, but there's a conversation that is being had that has nothing to do with you. Instead of you eavesdropping, you need to fall back and be mindful of that. And what happens is when people seek trusted people, see people that are like that, they cannot trust you, and therefore you will cause yourself to miss opportunities, right? Let me shift it a little bit so that you can get a broader perspective when it comes to corporations, because there's many organizations that are out there that we all used to take part of that no longer exist. And the reason for that is because they missed opportunities. When things shift, we have to shift along, right? We talk about technology and all of those kinds of things. I'm not going to say all technologies. I'm going to be very careful, but not all technologies you would want to leverage, but you have to use discernment on which ones you need to do. When the times change, we're supposed to change. We're supposed to shift, right? When innovation, we're supposed to embrace the innovation, especially when it comes to our specific business. We need to embrace what is new and what is different so that we can stay abreast and stay aboard, right? Aboard that train, because that train gonna keep on moving, right? When we think about Blockbusters, we all know about most of us know about Blockbusters, right? The stores, they had the little Blockbusters, the blue and the yellow sign, right? You can go in there, you can rent videos. And then when DVDs came out, you can rent the DVDs, even when it went the DVDs to Blu-ray, all of that, right? You can go in the store and you can rent whatever movie you want. If they had it, you can rent it, right? Remember that. But here's the deal. Blockbusters is no longer around because why? They missed the opportunity when they refused to adopt the change. You still got little red boxes around though. There's not very many of them. But Blockbusters missed the opportunity to embrace and adopt the change. And so what happened? They had to file bankruptcy like many of these other businesses. Kmart is another one. I know that's kind of preceding a lot of y'all. I mean, that's kind of like, wait, who? Kmart, what? Blue Light Special, right? But anyway, they missed a lot of opportunities. They missed the opportunity to grow as the world evolved because they didn't want to adopt a change. In some cases, it was a stretch for them. And sometimes when we have to embrace, when we want new opportunities, it's going to require us to go back to our systems, right? And we have to make some adjustments. Some things we have to do away with and adopt some new things, new language, new contracts, whatever that may be, new staff. Whether you're in corporate America or ministry, it doesn't matter. Sometimes we have to shift out and bring in. But if we don't embrace as things change and evolve, we will miss an opportunity. Kodak is another one. Some of y'all don't know what Kodak, they back in the day, the pictures and so on and so forth. You had a Kodak camera. You could take the picture and the picture would develop right then and there, right out of the camera, right? And so they don't have that anymore, right? And the reason is because Kodak missed opportunities when they didn't embrace digital technology. They didn't embrace the digital technology. And so therefore they had to go out of business. They missed an opportunity for growth. Sears and Roebuck is another one. There's one very, I know that there's one near me, but it's an outlet. If it still exists, I don't know. But nonetheless, Sears is another one that filed bankruptcy. They shut their doors, filed bankruptcy, and went out of business. Why? Because Sears missed their opportunity against Walmart, Target, and Amazon because they didn't want to shift. So when you think about that, these are the things that happen when we don't want to embrace what's new, embrace the change. Sometimes it ain't easy. I'll be the first to tell you, as a business owner, as a ministry leader, and so on and so forth. It's not always an easy thing, but if you want to stay in the forefront, it does require you to shift. It requires you to change some things. Toys R Us, we all know Toys R Us, Babies R Us, right? Toys R Us and Baby. I shopped at Toys R Us. I shopped at Babies R Us, right? Well, both of them, they were co-parent company. Both of them missed the opportunity because they didn't want to shift. So sometimes what happens is when we refuse to shift and instead we default to the same method, that's modus operandi. That's a method or, a pathway, a pattern, if you will. We refuse to change patterns, change lanes when we need to change lanes, technology when we need to change technology, change our mindset, change our language. We miss opportunities for growth. We miss opportunities for success. We miss opportunities for collaboration. We miss opportunities for partnership. We miss opportunities for knowledge transfer when we refuse to sit at the table, or we sit at the table, we think we know everything. Instead, we're listening like a student. Even if you did know it, they may give you a different perspective or a different outlook. We missed opportunities. We miss opportunities for training and development. We miss these opportunities when we stay stuck in a place, right? You say, well, how does one overcome? Let me go back to my notes here because I wanted to expound on what does missed opportunities cause. When we miss opportunities, it could cause a door to close, access denied, stricken boundaries, or if they have boundaries, they'll become more strict, seats removed from the table, refusal of invitation, people withdrawing or disconnecting, and all of those things. When we think about that, this is what that looks like when we miss opportunities, right? And so we have to be very, very mindful, right? And so how does one overcome missed opportunities? I'm glad you asked that question. So you ask yourself, how do I overcome missed opportunities? Well, first of all, you have to recognize the areas you've missed the opportunities, meaning you got to be true to yourself. Be okay with being honest with you. Say, you know what? My mindset causes me to keep missing opportunities, or because the fact that I want to stay in an old, slothful, in a impoverished mindset is causing me to miss opportunities, or because I don't want to embrace the change, it's causing me to miss opportunities. That's what that look like. You got to be honest with yourself, have a truthful conversation, right? The second one is to identify the why behind it. I just kind of gave you a clue of that. You have to identify the why behind why you keep missing opportunities. And if number three, if need be, partner with someone for accountability and address the issues. This is going to require a stretching from you, because if you're a person that don't like to be held accountable to whatever capacity, then my friend, you're going to still continue to have these issues where you're going to continue to miss opportunities, right? Because accountability is necessary, especially when you don't want to keep missing opportunities. Number four, be open and learn from it. Learn from your mistake, period. Point blank, period. Right? Number five, be able to set goals. Sometimes you may need help because sometimes we can be very narrow-minded when it comes to setting our goals. And so that way that sometimes we need to partner with someone else who's going to hold us accountable and help us to expand the way that we think so that we can set a broader goal. Yes, you do. You set goals based off of SMART, specific, that is measurable, that is achievable, right? That is realistic, and then you set a timing to it. But sometimes we shrink down because we don't know our own worth. There it is right there. We don't know our own worth, so we will set unrealistic goals for ourselves. Number 6, focus on your right now and no longer dwell on the shoulda, coulda, woulda. I'm going to say that again. Focus on your right now and no longer dwell on the shoulda, coulda, woulda. Number 7, have a resolve that your missed opportunity does not define you. Can I say that again for the people in the back? For the people who are going to come back and watch. Have a resolve that that missed opportunity doesn't define you. It don't. Learn from the mistakes and move away from the mistake. Number 8, be open for improvement. In other words, be open for change. Number 9, stay the course. So whatever that goal you set, then you have a strategy on meeting the goal. Then you have to assume the position so that you can move forward in it, right? The strategy can look like you receive it, you understand the vision, you see where you've made a mistake. You have to speak encouragement to yourself and over that situation. Excuse me. And then you have to walk it out in order for you to achieve that goal. And then as you're walking it out, that's a part of you living it. Number 10, formulate and embrace new strategies. Sometimes you set a strategy, and as you're moving forward, you see that along the way you need to shift. Be okay with shifting. Don't stay stuck in a box, right? And number 11, divorce your reject and move forward. I'm going to say that one more again. Divorce your reject, divorce your regret, and move forward. Don't stay stuck there. It kind of goes back to what I said. And number 6, don't dwell on the shoulda, coulda, woulda. I should have did this. Dang. I should have did that. Dang. Only if this, that, and the other. It's over with. You in a new day, a new time clock, probably a new week, a new month, or a new year. Move forward. Forward march, right? You have to stay positive, seek opportunities. Don't be an opportunist, because that can hit you in the wrong way. Anyway, stay positive. Seek the right opportunities for you with the right mindset and the right heart. Go forward and do the right thing. And don't be afraid to take risk, because opportunities that are presented before you is going to require you to take risks. Meaning what? You got to shut down that fear. You got to shut it down, Sally Sue. You have to shut it down. Listen, Linda. Listen, Leonard. You have to shut it down, because if you do not, you will continue to run a cycle of missing opportunities, right? Now, let me switch reels here. I'm going to put on the biblical hat for a moment for you believers. We can miss opportunities that God sends before us when we fail to recognize or respond to God's opportunity. We miss it. It can result in consequences such as delayed blessings, plans get redirected, or like Moses missed the promise, or like Jonah, you get stuck in the belly of a fish because of disobedience. You will sabotage your growth spiritually and naturally, and you will cause a delay in it, or you won't have no growth at all. Because we miss the opportunities. Right. So I'm gonna leave you with this. There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, and a time to uproot. You got to know the season of your opportunity. A time to kill and a time to heal. I ain't talking about killing feet. I'm not talking about killing people. So that's not what I'm talking about, right? A time to tear down and a time to build. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to scatter stones and a time to gather them. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. Know your season when it comes to opportunities. A time to search and a time to give up. A time to keep and a time to throw away. Some of you, let me pause right there. Yes, let me pause right there. You hoarders, because you like to hold on to all of these things, and yet you want opportunities for new things. And that, where you gonna put them at? You don't have no space. You need to clear the clutter. That's an opportunity that you miss to receive and embrace something new because there's no room for the new. Clean out them drawers, clean out that closet, clean out that garage, clean out that storage space, clean out your car. You want something new, but you don't know where you're going to put the new because you won't clean out. So you're missing an opportunity to receive that is new, right? And for you people who like to talk too much, there is a time to be quiet, and then there's a time to speak. There's a time to love, and then there's a time to hate. I ain't talking about you going around hating everybody. Love what God loves and hate what he hates, period. Those instructions within itself. And then last but not least, there is a time for war, and then there is a time for peace, right? And so I wanted to leave you with that. I hope that it encouraged you. For those of you who have missed opportunities, listen, let me just quickly share with you this. There was a time I missed opportunities because of insecurities, because I didn't know what to say, or I was afraid to say what I needed to say. And so I missed opportunities, right? You can miss opportunities as a result of being timid and shy, because you're intimidated by a situation or a person. You can miss the opportunity. And especially if it's an opportunity that's for you, you can miss that opportunity. And sometimes that opportunity will not come back around a second time. And so it's important that you identify the areas in which you are weak, where you're weak, that causes you to repeatedly miss opportunities. It could be even the simplest things as speaking up. And when you don't speak up because you put a muzzle over your mouth, or if you allowed somebody else to put a muzzle over your mouth, you will miss opportunities to speak up. And sometimes your opportunity will come by way of you opening your mouth to speak. And so when you miss it, when you don't speak up, you will miss the opportunity. It can cause frustration, right? I don't know about you, but I know for me, when I went back and reflected, when it was brought to my attention, this was some years ago, when it was brought to my attention about, hey, Michelle, you missed opportunities. And the interesting thing is this person really didn't know, but they did know. What I mean by that is they didn't really know my business, but they was in my business, right? And so they were honest enough to share with me, because this was a person that I trusted. They shared with me, they said, hey, Michelle, you missed many opportunities to do thus and so. And they told me why I missed opportunities. And like I said, I never shared my missed opportunities, or even how I felt as a result of me identifying the opportunities that I missed. I never shared it with this individual, but they had enough discernment, and because they cared about me, to pull me up out of that rut in my mind, they just were very transparent with me. And they said, hey, you missed opportunities because of this, because of your mindset here, or because of the behavior here, whatever. They were able to pinpoint. I didn't take it offensively. Some people take it offensively when somebody's bringing correction to you or telling you the truth, and they're only telling you the truth so that they can see you succeed, right? And this individual didn't have an ulterior motive. They didn't have a personal agenda. They just was sharing with me what they observed to help me come out of that place, so that going forward, I would not miss another opportunity. And so I wanted to share that with you. Like I said, I've been sitting on that particular nugget for actually quite some time, if I may be honest, because I think I dated it. Not that it matters to any of you, but I was supposed to do this the beginning of February, and I kind of sat on it, and I won't say I necessarily sat on it because I was adding to it as I was observing, adding to it as nuggets were being dropped in my spirit, adding to it, just even reflecting over my own life. And so, like I said, I'm not afraid to share with you what it looks like, or my personal experience of how it feels to miss opportunities because of the way you think, because of the way you act, because of your upbringing and things of that nature. And so, again, I hope that it encouraged you and gave you some ammunition, if you will, to move forward. And in your forward movement, to be able to identify the weak areas within yourself that causes you to repeatedly miss opportunities that are actually for you. Alrighty. So with that being said, shameless plug. For those of you who follow me on social media, I have been entrusted to teach what we call Strong Roots. Strong Roots is a 7-week course that helps you to identify generational curses in your bloodline, in your family, and not even just limited to generational curses, but learned behaviors that have blocked and stopped you from having those things, learned behaviors that have stopped you from missing, that has stopped and caused you to miss opportunities. Thank you. Not just behaviors, triggers that you have, cycles that you constantly repeat, and it has caused you to miss opportunities, right? And so I want to open it up for you. The next class starts on March 18th, which is a Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And we kind of go for about an hour to an hour and a half for 7 weeks. The cost is $140. Upon completion of the course, you will obtain a certificate of completion along with a nice little apparel t-shirt that lets you know that you partook in the Strong Roots. I would just say to you, I would encourage you, wherever you are in your walk, to really consider taking the course, because it will help you not just right now, but it'll help you in the future, particularly for those of you who seek to have families, or if you're in a family and you've noticed patterns, you've noticed behaviors, you've noticed cycles, you've noticed generational proclivities, and so on and so forth. And you're trying to figure out, how do I get away from this? How do I stop this? How do I break this? How do I come away from this? Because what I'm seeing, I don't like. Yes, I love my family. Yes, I love my mama. I love my daddy. I love my grandma. I love my grandpa, and so on and so forth. But this stuff that I'm seeing, I don't like it. And I just don't know how to disconnect from it. If that be you, I invite you to come and register for the Strong Roots course. It's a 7 weeks course where you will receive nuggets, you will receive resources, you will receive tips, and whatever it takes, you will receive that will help you first identify what it is that's generational in your family, those that preceded you, and even yourself, behaviors, cycles, triggers, those kind of things that we have adopted, or as they like to say in the medical field, you have inherited, and you want to find a way of escape once and for all. I invite you to go to my website, drmichellefoster.com, and then you can click on courses and then go ahead and register. If you have any questions, please feel free to send me an email, right? And so back to the missed opportunities. I hope that this was a good nugget for you, and that it encouraged you, that it gave you something to think about, and that it even stirred you up to make you go back and reflect and say, you know what areas did I miss opportunities in? Why did I miss them? And how you can overcome that. All righty. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. Dr. Michelle Foster, the Truth and Transparency Coach. Stay tuned. If you have not subscribed to the channel, I encourage you to click the like button and subscribe. And don't forget to click the bell button so that you are made aware when lives are, when I come live, and also when I post pre-recorded nuggets that can help you to get to the place where you need to be. Until then, you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening. Bye for now.